of other different places. Now, the Mike Leach, and, I've interviewed him, I think, at one time. I think it's one time, and it might have been an event, when he was at a country club in Tyler. Here are some quotes from Mike Leach, Matt Hayes, Saturday Down South. Leach, what we have right now is unmitigated free agency and a bidding war. So how do you stop it? Leach says, split players into two specific groups, student athletes and professionals, and the players get to choose which group they want. The student athlete track estimates is for about 95% or more of the current college players. They will sign and play under current scholarship format, but with a backloaded bonus structure. Leach, you come to school, you get your full scholarship and stipend. You can't be cut for playing ability, but can be cut for breaking rules. You can't be traded. You don't get drafted. The student athlete track, again, is about 95% of the others. Was there another quote? There should have been another quote. Oh, damn. Okay. Here's another thing. Leach, if you finish all of your eligibility at the same school and graduate, if you finish all of your eligibility at the same school and graduate, you then, at the end of that time, if you play 4 years or 5 years, whatever it is, your 5-year run, you get your degree, you get $150,000 at the end. That's retention bonus for signing a scholarship, playing 4 years of football, graduating from that same school. If you transfer, you're out.
I'm all on board with this so far.
Yeah.
I think he said more than that, though. Can I see that?
Yeah, no, but I thought I sent Garrett all the quotes there.
I want to point out, I don't like taking the degree out of the equation. Degrees help lives, help families, help generations. Then at the end of your career and graduation, and I don't know the perfect amount. So again, he's just throwing something out there. Let's say let's say you get 150. So he's not saying it's got to be. He's just saying let's say you get 150. He could have said any number there, and I don't. That's a retention. That's an earning your money thing right there too. And as far as you doing the classwork and all of that would come with that. And I agree with him. If you enter the transfer portal, you've got to put that clause in there, because if you don't, then there will be guys just portal hopping like crazy to grab the bag. But it'll be interesting to see, who's all about grabbing the bag and who looks up and all of a sudden is out of eligibility, if that's even going to be a thing in whatever new, by that point, like we'll have 10-year seniors in college football the way they're going right now.
Here's the deal. If you just on this side of it, if you have an NIL collective that signs people that says, like, listen, there's probably going to be some kind of hybrid of that. Like, you get kind of your stipend and we'll give you a little extra money and all that stuff. But if you stay for 4, if you finish all your eligibility and stay here and don't transfer, we'll give you $150,000 at the end. That's something that I think could incentivize a ton of athletes to do it. And it might clear some of the dead weight out of the transfer portal. Because
Yeah, no, it could. I just don't know when he says that $150,000 if he's saying, like, would guys get NIL money along the way, or does this mean you got to wait till the very end and get your degree you get paid?
I think that is you make like that decision. Either you either become a professional, that you take that track, or you become the track that's a student athlete. Now, it doesn't say whether or not you can change your mind 3 years into it or not.
Yeah, but
he's just throwing out $150,000.
No, I did. If you say you could 2 years into it, there's other people that are giving you an NIL deal. I mean, he's got your out clause there. You're just not going to get your $150,000, but you might be able to make that up in the next place you go.
Yeah, I just think that I think that's what my question is. Like, the $150 at the end, that's great if you take care of your business, but you're also asking them to wait 4 or 5 years to see a cent. That's what I'm saying is, like, what's the incentive along the way? Because
the part that you get a scholarship and also you get your stipend money.
Okay, well, the stipend, well, there you go. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm saying is, like, you're not going to not pay them at all for 4 years.
Said. That's the quote, though. Yeah, that was the quote. But it makes it school. You get your full scholarship and stipend.
That's what I'm saying is, like, okay, 150 chunk at the end, got that. But, like, what's along the way? So you're saying a stipend, and, like, okay, but I don't know. I just think that there's going to be a lot of impatience, and that weeds guys out. So, yeah, that would never pass. There's just too many wild cards with that. But, I mean, I think that his head's in the right place as far as, like, incentivizing education and getting your degree. And I agree with him wholeheartedly based on my comments last week that, getting a degree is not for everybody. But there are sure a lot of people that would love to have had the opportunity that those who may be taking it for granted do have. And I do think that, 90+% of the athletes on any given team, other than maybe Alabama football, and even then it's the majority, aren't going pro. So, don't tell me the degree is not important and then, just thrust these people out there after they're done with their athletic careers totally unprepared. And I know that happens far too often. And that's why I said this isn't just on the athletes. You got to look at the universities themselves and how they've handled kind of the trade of all of this, of just using up players and then sending them along their way unprepared. I mean, all that's got to change. I think it's a system-wide thing that's really got to change. But yeah, I mean, that's an idea. I think, there's nothing wrong with listening to various ideas. He's not trying to pull money from people's pockets necessarily based on what you said. He's all for, getting degrees and paying guys at the end, but just trying to, I think, like everybody else, have some stability. Like, hey, if this is what we have to do to have guys stick around for 3 years rather than having to re-recruit them every offseason, I think coaches are looking for everything they can to have some sort of stability. And maybe that's, ultimately the basis for something that does become something that does turn into kind of what he's referring to.
One of the things that I do see, and I think it's probably from somebody that's just looking to start something, and I hope that I'm not talking to you, but if I am, I hope you hear me out, is that when we say that the transfer portal and or the NIL needs to have some sort of rules or some sort of and I think the word guardrails have been used. Guardrails has been used before. I even heard Saban use guardrails. It doesn't mean you're against it. It just means, my God, can you at least have some structure with it? Yeah. It's no different than anything else when you're earning money. Unless you're selling something on the street and you're not claiming taxes, there is a structure for what income you earn and how much you're going to end up paying in taxes.
Yeah, and we have to do this on a regular basis, and I just sit here and I just sigh when I hear that because it's like a weekly thing at this point. But then I also realize, like, hey, there's new people coming along the way. So maybe you're one of those. If not, then you're just trolling because we've made it clear 150,000 times on this show that we're not anti-NIL, but we are pro, like, some sort of a rule. Like, that's not a cap on the money that they can make or anything like that, but like, yeah, let's have transfer window dates. What's wrong with that? Like, the people, you don't like NIL, you want transfer, like, what is transfer window dates and wanting those in place so that, like, I don't know, who's on your team at any given moment? Why is that, like, anti-NIL? So I hope that's where you're coming from. You're just a new viewer or something, because we get a lot of those lazy takes on, if you say anything about NIL that's not just let them do whatever they want,
yep.
Then you're somehow, you don't want players to get money. And
well,
it's like, what? It's like, what are you talking about?
We've even had